sees it. I'm like, Paulina, she's got that dog in her, dude. It's right there. Josephus was saying that shit thousands of years ago, and it's funny as hell. She bangs Anubis, dude, doggy style. Takes back shots, dude. Paulina.
So I get you now for sure. I had somebody bring that up the other day. They were like, "Hey, didn't Josephus talk about Jesus?" I was like, "Yeah, it was just like like 80 years afterwards."
That's a long time.
And a lot of people think
like the Bible's already out.
Yeah, and like the way that it's written, it doesn't look like it's like it seems like it's totally out of context, that one little line that says Jesus, but the rest of you take that out, you go, oh, it's like totally makes sense. And then some lady gets banged by a dude wearing a dog mask. All right, like what the fuck's going on, Josephus? Yeah. And I don't understand why more people don't talk about Paulina getting banged by Anubis. It's right there, right next to Jesus.
There's a lot of things that I don't know why people don't talk about them more. I've done the best I can wives. For sure. I'm streaming this to my channel now. I just now clicked it over. I didn't know I could do that to this now.
I actually didn't know I could.
We're simulcasting right now?
I didn't know you could do that until Snappy told me the other day, and I forgot to do it the other night. So
yeah.
We're simulcasting?
Yeah.
How's it going, world? Y'all missed my diatribe at the beginning and the diatribe for the last 1 hour and 21 minutes. But
TigerShark says Solomon had 1,000 wives. Come on, people. 42 kids were killed by a bear of making fun of a bald guy. Jeez,
baldy.
Bring him on.
I love TigerShark.
All right. Hey, Tiger, I'm going to send you the link.
Yeah, send the invites to everybody.
Might as well do it.
Bring him up. It was fun seeing TigerShark butcher my theory of the dwarf in Mark 14:51-52, and it was so Witch Doctor went on with Cross Bible and Neil the other night, and brought on Chase and TigerShark, TigerShark gave like looking back on it, I'm like, oh my god, he's got most of the points there, but like they're just not in the right order and they're not like presented properly. Like I was like, it's a more nuanced theory than that. Like it's actually grounded in.
I'm probably sure that's more on you than on TigerShark.
But and he did a decent job. He's like, look, like this comedy, like blah blah blah.
The play.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Mark was a stage play. Mark was a comedy.
Hey, who was the scholar that you said wrote a book? Something Smith. Sorry, I didn't mean to jump on you.
No, you're good.
That's funny. He said Neil threw that as a curveball. So this is a thing that me and Neil have been talking about as like counter. It's an opposing theory using exactly the same methodology and standards and techniques that Amon is using to justify the Neoniskos being the prepubescent boy. I'm going, okay, according to your exact same logic, it could be a dwarf, and I have actual archaeological evidence of an infibulated dwarf. You know what I mean? Like I have actual fucking vase paintings of infibulated dwarves in gardens with Dionysus. But Amon doesn't have prepubescent boys with things tied around with medicated bandages, right? He doesn't have that, but I do. I have actual archaeological evidence of infibulated Dionysian dwarves, right? Like, and this is stuff that like, it's almost consensus, dude. Like almost consensus that if you see Dionysus, you should expect to see infibulated Dionysian dwarves, right? Infibulation is tying off your foreskin to cover your penis head because it was looked at as gross. And the technique that they used to call this was they would tie a bow to cover that gland, and it was called the dog tie. Anubis's dick. That's what Paulina was doing. Doggy style, dude. Oh God! What was Jesus doing in that garden at 4 a.m. with that dwarf? And why did that dwarf have a dog tie?
What up, TigerShark?
What up, TigerShark? How you doing, buddy?
What's up, guys?
Good to see you, man.
So anyway, the dwarf theory started off as just a joke. I was like, according to Amon's same standards, like every single thing that he's saying, it could be a dwarf, it could be a midget, right? That's stylistically characteristic and expected in the text. But the text says Neoniskos, a little dude, right? A little dude, a dude, but diminutive, a diminutive dude.
Have you seen my tree in Niskos?
Yeah. Have you guys seen the tree in East Coast?
Niskos.
Check out the tree in East Coast. Look at the tree in East Coast. It's the little tree. It's the tree in East Coast, guys. Oh God! The tree in East Coast. It's Addis. Guys, it's Addis.
Nice, dude.
Hey man, how you doing, TigerShark? What's up, bud?
See you, dude.
Doing good, man. The family's in Dallas. I'm 2 weeks into my new job and stuff like that. So it's going good though.
You're in Dallas now?
Yeah, I got a new job. It's a much better job with like a Fortune 100 company, and
Oh, nice. Good to hear.
got to
That.
sell the house and all that stuff. But
Yeah,
you know how that
that's
is.
how it goes. That's how it goes.
But no, to answer Mandy's thing. So Neil does that all the time whenever him and I are talking, and I kind of try to call him out on it a little bit when we were talking about it. But like, he'll just be like, "Well, you see a flower on a thing, and then you just go to drugs." And I'm like, "Dude, there's like," and then he did the same thing with that, where he's like, "I don't see how you're in alabaster and finding alabastrons in the archaeological record, and then you get a dwarf out of it." And I'm like, I'm not getting into that right now because that's a lot. There's a lot to that. And I said, it's kind of weird because you and him have talked a lot. And I think even after you've talked to him, he's agreed with you on some of your stuff, right? If not all of it.
Well, I mean, I think honestly, like up until it comes to the philology, my theory is perfectly sound, right? Like I'm not making a philological argument saying, Neoniskos means dwarf because nano means dwarf, right? What I'm saying is that if like you grant Ammon and the Ammoniskos and the Ammonites, right? We need to stop calling them Ammonites because Ammonites are a really cool rock. So we should start calling them what they truly are and start calling them Ammoniskos. All right. There's Ammonites already a thing. They're Ammoniskos. They're little Ammons, right? So basically the Ammoniskos, if they actually took methodology and theory and step-by-step logic and all that seriously and followed what Ammon was saying, stylistically, every single thing that he's saying about this prepubescent boy, which is nowhere at all, anywhere in the archaeological record, the philological, the text, they don't say that it's a prepubescent boy, right? Neoniskos is never used that way, right? There's actually texts, the thing that Ammon wants to fucking do is, if you have this word side by side with this word, then they're mutually exclusive, so they can't be the same thing. Well, I have fucking Apollonius using the word Neoniskos and paideia right next to each other. The word for prepubescent boy next to the word for youth or young dude or little guy. And the little guy has a fucking has a cloth wrapped around him, right? It's not like it doesn't take anything to fucking see this shit, right? So if Ammon wants to say, oh, it's diminutive, therefore it's a prepubescent boy, you go, no. If it's diminutive, therefore it's a dwarf, like the fucking the Samothrace mysteries, the mysteries of fucking Bess in Egypt, like literally every single fucking comedy that has ever been on stage, the satyrs, the fucking pygmies, all of these fucking people, all of these dwarves that have been on stage are expected when you see Dionysus, right? So if you look through the Bible and you go, well, this can't be, people are saying, oh, it's not Dionysus because of this, and that. So, well, the only argument that like actually holds any water is it's not Dionysus because there's no dwarves. You don't see any dwarves in the Bible next to Jesus. Therefore, it's not a Dionysus story. You go, no, guys. The demoniac in the cemetery, right? Remember the demoniac where he casts out the demons and then they jump over and it's all the Circe's pigs and they drowns the pigs, right? That's the same character that would have been on stage in 1451-52 that has, the fibulation and then the fibula falls off and he runs off into the garden, right? And it runs off into the woods and then reappears fully dressed in the tomb. right? So you start in a cemetery, you go to a garden, and then you end in a tomb. Anytime you see a triad like that, right, a 3-piece story arc, that is the story structure of comedy. Drama is a hill, right? It's a 5-piece hill. Comedy is a 3-piece arc. All right. So you start with a naked, howling, fucking Bacchic, cynical dwarf screaming at the top of his lungs like a satyr in the cemetery, right? And that's the same character that you see shortly after. Jesus casts out he casts out the demons, the pigs fall down, right? And then he says, go off to the Decapolis, go to the 10 cities and tell my story, right? You see that same dwarf, that same character on stage wearing only a fibula, only a dog tie wrapped around his wiener, right? Okay, so what you're seeing is naked, partially naked, and then naked for comic relief, running off with the dwarf dong flapping in the wind, right? That's even they would have recognized
even how they
the character.
got there. Even how they got there is pure comedy, like how they got on the boat and went through a fucking storm in the sea.
yeah, right. So it's all comedy, right? And then
let's go out now.
Yeah, and then you see that same character, that same Dionysian dwarf, fully clothed, right? And then they roll back the stone, and that's the kid that's there, the dwarf that's there, and he goes, "Hey, it's me, the guy from the cemetery, the guy from the garden. It's me. I'm telling the Decapolis. I'm the one telling the story," right? Like, it's so fucking simple if you read the goddamn book, right? Jesus tells this character to go tell his story, right? He tells a Dionysian dwarf satyr to go tell his story. You know what Dionysian dwarf satyrs were doing? Dancing around on every single fucking stage in the 10 cities, right?
Yeah,
the
no,
10 cities.
I tried
Dance
to tell,
around every
I tried
single
to tell
fucking
him
stage,
that.
right? It's not a crazy idea, and nothing about it other than it being a satirical, counter theory to Amon's nonsense, right? It's actually sound fucking scholarship. Like, I'm citing
I'm glad that that's your theory, because people will at least look at my theory about G's with some drug juice or something for Jesus. I think they'll go for that more than the dwarf in the garden.
I mean, but here's the thing: is that, like, according to
the average person,
according to the iOS rights and the mystery stuff and the extracting it using the bandage and all of that nonsense that he fucking says it doesn't have any sound like in the text, right?
What do you mean, like the thing being like
none of that is anywhere in any of the texts. You don't find it in any of, like, these mystery right texts. It's absolute nonsense. Like, occasionally you'll find the Ganymede using using his wiener to basically do like a hula hoop act on stage.
Helicopter.
Right? Yeah, exactly. So he's doing on stage. It's a mime, right?
Right.
The Ganymede, who is the cup of the ambrosia that comes out of his butt, right? All this is sound, right? On stage, the Ganymede character, for comic relief, would literally do the helicopter and have a hoop, like a hula hoop, like a ring around his wiener, and would use it to basically do like a spinning plates, like a hula hoop act using his wiener. And that's right. That's the closest you get to something wrapped around a prepubescent boy's wiener on stage. But I have infibulated dwarves everywhere. And Aristotle, Aristotle, I read Aristotle, and then I went to a bar and got my dick sucked, right? Oh God, right? That's Amon. That's Amon busting in that poor lady's mouth. So basically, Aristotle said that all children are dwarves, right? So in the iconography, right, if you see a child, it's plausible that you're actually looking at an artist's rendition of a dwarf, that would be on a stage play, right? Because children aren't very good actors, but dwarves can play a child character on stage, right? Aristotle said that dwarves are children. Children are dwarves. Read Aristotle, right? Like, and also Aristotle said speculation's super fucking cool. So like, what the fuck do I know about anything? Speculation's bad now, apparently. Aristotle's bad now, apparently. Henderson's bad now, apparently.
Yeah, and I didn't want to give all. I think Nasik should. I mean, he's already done one, but I think he should probably circle back with you and do a full show with just you, Mandy. But what made me start looking at Mandy's? He was screaming it for a long time, and then I started looking at the literature just on my own without him like telling me and feeding me shit, just to see if I could link some of the stuff up. And as soon as I started reading the structure of the comedy, how they did stuff, and I still don't know all of it, but like even the stuff that I've looked at, it all aligns and makes sense. And the archaeology, where I was trying to bring that up a little bit with Neil, where like even the Jews were going to these Greek theaters as well, and they had fifth row seats, inscriptions there to save their seat because they wanted to be there. But every little city that like Paul and all those went in the New Testament, they all had theaters. Like every single one of them had a theater.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it just makes sense that the style of writing, it was like weird because it was a mixture, and a lot of the scholars, and I was trying to tell Neil that because he was like, well, in this play, they always say like exit stage. But
that's a later convention. Yeah, that's there. So shout out to Cross Bible for butting in a little bit there and said this is actually a textual critical question. You have to take a look at the manuscripts and figure out when that actually became like standard, right? And I've read a bunch of, I can cite you Carl Ruck saying that most stage plays didn't have the stage instructions on the on the writing or anything. So that's a later convention. I don't know exactly when it starts. I've read people say it's a Byzantine thing. I've read people, say that sometimes they had it. Most of the time they didn't, right? Carl Ruck says it wasn't expected. So it's not a standard that you would expect, right? Just to kind of throw that one out, right?
Where the Greek, like if people want to know, like, why did they start doing these styles of comedy? It's like the wars, every single fucking war they were in, they used it to kind of quell society because it was like going through war. People were losing their brother, their father, and they had to keep, society around. And then you had the political turmoil internally within Greece alone, where city-states were fighting each other too. Yeah. So they started creating this different type of comedy of adding these political elements to it. So like that Corinthian thing I was talking about, like where they're like, where you brought it up, Witch Doctor, where you're like, hey, they're telling them not to have sex with each other and like the males not to have sex with like that was kind of a political thing. And when you start seeing politics being entered into the Bible, that's like screaming Greek fucking tragedy. That's like it's screaming it right in your face. So when Amen says that it's Greek, it is like the style, all of it's Greek for sure, 100%. But when he takes it literal and then he also takes it to like the medical text, have you guys ever read like stuff that Galen actually got wrong? Because it's like, yeah, he got some stuff right. He did good stuff, but he also got a lot of shit wrong.
I highlighted some stuff that was silly, like, dehydrated snake skin, like rubbing it on your forehead, stuff like that.
Yeah. But there's there's entire papers about what he actually got wrong, and it's not just a little bit of stuff. Yeah. And so when Amen's like, well, it's we'll start here, and this is the way it goes. I think I think we all know he's kind of just doing his own thing, right? And I don't have a problem. I'm not saying stop or whatever. Do what the hell you want. I don't care. But just people that are following it, like, don't listen to me if you don't want to. But go look for the papers on your own. You'll find them.
I'm going to show you.
Start reading that. And you'll go, wow, this is insane. And when Mandy said before that Amen was not the first guy to say this, he was not the first person to say a lot of that shit.
Oh, yeah. Jeremy Bentham pointed out the weird stuff going on with the kid or the dwarf in 1451-52. And based off of his reading of Lucian, the dialogue with the courtesans, that word was used associated with prostitution. And basically Lucian or Jeremy Bentham's reading of it was like, oh shit, I think this might be like a prostitute. Right. So I want to show you guys something. The Wikipedia page, Wiktionary for Neoniskos. All right. Take a look at, can you guys see me? All right.
Yeah.
You guys can see this, right? So this is the Wiktionary. You got the Neoniskos right here, right? It says the Neonias, it means young, right? Iskos is diminutive, right? Not necessarily by force, right? And I haven't actually seen this. Neil shows it to me not too long ago, right? And they cite one of the sources that I use for this theory. You guys see this right here? Right? You see the source? What it says? Hanton.
Yeah.
Right? Stephen. Right? So I pulled up this guy's article here. Accept all the cookies here. Take a look at.
Hold on, switch back.
Oh, how do I do it?
Go down.
Where?
Change that one. See it? Yeah.
Here, you do it. I don't know what you're pointing at. Sorry. Let me. I don't know how to actually use this thing. Where are we at, Johnny? How do I go to the next?
Oh, I'm working on it.
All right. I don't think you want to stop the screen, right? Anyway, I've got this guy's article up here. I wanted to show you. What's going on, Johnny? Where are we at?
Dude, you got to give me a second, man.
Mm-hmm. I did share the link to Secundus if you want to pin that or anything to the chat.
Yeah, we'll put it in there so that people can get the book and all that.
Stop the screen.
So you stop that one and then you pull up the other one.
Yep.
Wow. Okay.
My college emailed me going, "We're closed." I'm like, "I'm in another state, but yeah, we're closed."
For the storm.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So
okay.
Yeah, we have a freeze.
Mark's comic frame. There you go. Okay.
I have a generator, so I'm good to go. I got propane. I got gas.
Can you guys read this? Is this showing up here? Can you see this?
Yeah, you can zoom in if you want. You can make it.
How do I zoom in,
Go
John?
to the other one.
This one here?
Yep. Go to that
I can zoom in. How do I zoom in? Okay. Can everybody read this? Do they see what this is saying here on this first one?
Yes.
This first. Does anybody want to read this out loud for the audience?
Real introduction. The young man who flees in Gethsemane, Mark 14:51-52, and the young man who speaks to the women in Jesus's open tomb. It is very small, but I can pretty much see it. Are frequently interpreted together because of their shared vocabulary and narrative elements. But passages use the word neoniskos, young man, little youth, as we've described it, to describe their characters. Both figures are depicted as being dressed or wrapped in clothing, though they wear is different. Both characters are anonymous. The young man in Gethsemane flees from this would-be captors, and thus women flee from the messenger in the tomb. Some scholars also note that this narrative events from I can't read it. Inclusio. Okay, cool. That frames the accountants in the trial and death of Jesus.
So if I scroll down, is this scrolling? You guys can see it scrolling, or is that not?
Yeah.
Check it out. So neoniskos associated with comic behavior. Take a look at that. Plato's Republic, laughable clowning buffoonery, right? You got Aristotle here talking about it. Oh, hey, look at that name. Aristophanes. Isn't that interesting? You got Aristophanes talking about all this stuff. More Aristophanes of buffoons, right? So this isn't me making stuff up, right? Oh, take a look.
What does that say about Xenophon?
Xenophon?
Yeah.
Chase can't make it. Just letting y'all know. I was going to see if he'd jump on.
Yeah, pouring wine. So anyway, if you go to the Wikipedia page for the word neoniskos to fact check what Ahmed Hillman has to say about this, what shows up is an article that goes in very deep detail about the mimesis and how all of this stuff works comedically, right? I mean, it's insane. You're quoting Foucault here, dude. Take a look at some of the other people. You got Socrates talking about here. There's take a look at that. A reference to Hegel? What? A reference to Slavoj Žižek?
The biggest problem you
this?
Have you
right?
found
the young man in the
some of your friends, have they ever pushed back because they're like, no, I need it to be a kid and I need it to be not a comedy, like because they want it to be a perverted passage? Or
Well,
They
so
don't
here's
understand.
what-
They don't understand the culture. I think that's what Mandy's. I mean, everything I'm picking up from Mandy. That's his like biggest
I'm
fight
trying
with
to
it.
show you, like, there are people that have written about the context of this word neoniskos used in comedy in the context of the goddamn Bible, right? And then if you go and do, Amon Hillman's fucking typical bit where he pulls Henderson's Immaculate Muse off his fucking shelf and flips through it and goes, oh, the word klopos, there it goes. This, and according to Henderson, it says klopos means vagina. It also says this in the Bible. So therefore, it means vagina in the Bible. And you go, well, I mean, the according to your theory, Mark isn't a comedy, right? According to Amon Hillman's theory, this is an eyewitness account of a ritual going on, not an eyewitness account of a fucking stage play in the style of comedy, right? Like Amon Hillman's theory doesn't work according to the standard basics of stylistic critique, dude. Like stylistic critique. And he was on fucking Danny Jones going, according to style. I've been reading this for 30 years. I can tell the style. I can smell it. Right? He didn't, right? Like, no, motherfucker. I've looked at the fucking article about the word Dionyskos, and it says that it's a fucking comedy. You aren't saying it's a fucking comedy. So your use of Henderson is invalid, right? Like this dude right here would be able to make a better fucking argument for Amon Hillman's fucking nonsense because he can cite Aristophanes. He can go, according to Aristophanes and according to Henderson, this word means that and this fucking word means that. And if it's a fucking comedy, all of these interpretations are valid. But he doesn't, right? He doesn't because he's a fucking good scholar, right? Like Amon's just fucking out of his goddamn fucking gourd, right? It's so fucking goofy, dude. And like I've been telling everybody since fucking day one, like I'm not an Amon Hillman fan. I'm like a founding member of the Carl Ruck fan club, and Amon Hillman is an equal member of the Carl Ruck fan club, right?
I think there's been several campaigns that have tried to get some stuff across. And, I think it's worked some. I think there's a good place. Y'all have seen movies like Bad Trip and Bad Grandpa, Jackass and CKY movies, where they have a loosely staged script, but with real life people as the culprits or the victims for the scene. So like Bad Grandpa, he accidentally shits his pants in the restaurant. Everybody there thinks it's actually happening. But it's just Johnny Knoxville in a suit and a funny kid. And, I think that is where who shall not be named. I think that's the kind of comedy that Voldemort needs to have, is a movie where he goes around trying to preach at different churches and he starts getting into all that stuff and it completely 180s the crowd like Borat or Bruno movie. That's what Amon needs to do with his work. And it will be a gold mine, and we'll forgive his daughter being in the room when he talks about all that fucking pornographic and illicit stuff. We'll forgive him for that. If he can go and do something classy and set people up to give sermons, truck chapels, little southern churches, go to New York, go all over and do this. If he can make that happen, he will have completely redeemed himself. And it will be satire, and it will be Hellenistic as well. It will be everything that it needs to be. But if people keep showing up watching that show every week, I don't think they're learning Greek anymore. So
yeah, I mean, the issue is that like early on, like at the very, very beginning, when this dude was, on YouTube and he was like part of the Carl Ruck fan club and he's, hollering into a microphone, being over the top and theatrical and all that, like he had a group of creatives behind him. I was one of them. Like I wrote jokes for the fucking guy, right? Every time you hear him say, can you smell the anthropology? Or do you smell that, right? That's a cue that I helped him develop for his audience to recognize that we're abandoning the text, right? And this stuff comes out of, you know, long conversations that we had with the dude after his fucking show. We would sit there, we would watch his fucking show, work in the studio, and I would drive home and listen to, you know, the group chat talking, and I would talk through my Bluetooth and go and chime in every now and then and go, oh yeah, you know, we need some sort of a, you know, a cue. We need like a theatrical cue. Change the lights, change your shirt. So like you're putting on different characters. You're not putting on a mask, but change the lights, change your shirt. You know what I mean? That stuff all developed because he had a creative team behind him, right? And he lost that creative team when he started bullshit. Like we were just like, a lot of us were just like, get the fuck out of here, dude. Like you're not curing cancer. Like that's like unethical. Like as far as my comedic, like you can't, you know, that's what really set me off. A lot of people
have jumped ship.
So when I jumped ship, right, and I was still like part of it because I got a blaster and I could like, you know, when he went on Danny Jones, a bunch of like Nazis and shit started coming in, and I was like, oh great, I get to blast Nazis, fun, boom, 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 boom. So I got like stuck around out of like anti-fascism, right? Just this is fun. I get to troll fucking Christians and blast Nazis, awesome. And like I'm hanging out with my friends and they're all anarchists and shit. This is fun, right? And then he started saying like, oh, I'm going to cure cancer. I'm going to do this. I'm going to, no, you're not going to fucking cure cancer, dude. Like your text doesn't fucking say that, dude. It does not anywhere in any way, fucking shape or form. Like you're not going to learn to read Greek and in 30 years cure cancer because of what something fucking Dioscorides or fucking Galen said. Like you're full of fucking shit, dude. Right?
They are.
And like, you know, and I'm not a like I'm a comedian. I'm a funny guy. I was there to like, hey, I've also read Henderson. Here's the dick jokes. Here's the pussy jokes. Here's the poop jokes. Right? Yeah. Like all the poop jokes. I'm like, check out Henderson. And some of the poop jokes, which is even fucking more fun, came out of me. Like I told you guys that I used to drive from here to my house. I don't have very good cell service at the farm, so I would drive to the next town over to a graveyard and park my car in the graveyard. Do you know whose grave I was sitting in front of while talking to Amon Hillman? The one and only infallible James Hillman. I was sitting in James Hillman at James Hillman's fucking grave doing necromancy with Amon Hillman, asking him, I'm fucking, dude, I like, it's, if some of those recordings exist, like some of the ridiculous questions that I asked, like I was sitting there reading James Hillman and asking Amon Hillman questions as if he was fucking James Hillman. And here's the thing, I've seen Amon Hillman reference and cite James Hillman, so I know he's read it. Right, I know he's read the source that I'm reading to him, making jokes. Right, like the meta comedy that I was involved with Lady Babylon and, you know, my homies Neil and Snappy and, you know, all those people, like the new crew of Amoniscos is so low IQ that like you're not even ready to thumb wrestle in the gymnasium, you fucking dullards.
People have shifted big time. So what happened in the beginning was before anybody had really fired back at anything that he was doing, whether it be morally, ethically, translation, academically wise, whether it be hit pieces and stuff. I mean, look, some people have made channels completely dedicated to it. That sucks. That's really weird, because if somebody stops doing, then that whole entire channel is gone. You know, no one's going to care that much. But it also makes you look desperate as a YouTuber. If you're going to make, like, or for example, if I made an anti or pro-Trump page just because it got views, oh, come on, man. That's, I mean, anybody can do that, but it ends up getting views. You have to commit to a certain narrative that's usually too far in one direction that you don't even really go that far. From both sides, you know, people that are blue typically don't agree with everything somebody that's blue does, you know, and vice versa. So, you know, a lot of things have changed, and a lot of people that wanted to be taken seriously weren't taken seriously when they would regurgitate things from that guy's show. Once they said the word Christing, you're done.
You're done. You're done. You're done. Get out of here. It's a neologism.
Say gorgeous, you're done. You say anything that, because what they're going to do is they're going to assume that that's the only show you watch to gather your information from. Not even, one of a bunch of other things. It's like, you know what? I doubt you really watched it that much.
But you know what attracts those people, right? I think they're all coming from pain because they're all most of them are former Christians. So they flock to a guy that's like, fuck Christianity. But we all could just sit there and throw up the middle finger and say the same thing. But when it comes down to actually understanding Greek culture, I haven't learned more of it other than listen to all these people from probably Mandy. Because honestly, looking up the papers on myself and ones that he doesn't even send me or reference at all, it's right there. I mean, it would be hard to argue against it. And then the other side is like, you have to look at the wars. Like, people don't understand the actual history of the influence of the Romans into Jerusalem, even like over and over again. Like when they went in there in Antiochus, right? They set up pagan fucking rituals in Jerusalem, in the city. They burned the fucking temple down. So you don't think they were doing comedy there? For sure, they were doing comedy there. They were doing their culture.
Fighting, comedy, theater, play, drama. They had everything. There was no fucking TV and Netflix. They didn't have StreamYard, So like it was the world. I swear the world was almost that way until the 90s. And after that, we got into the 2000s, and now people don't leave their house. We don't go out. We don't do things.
Even Egyptian, so even Egyptian stuff, and with if you want to get into like, I know Mandy doesn't care about it because honestly, at the end of the day, for his theory, it doesn't really matter as much. But I think where Amin's trying to tie this stuff into like the rituals, and we know there's alabastrons and other ritualistic stuff happening, right? We know that, but even that stuff, like we know in the archaeological record, like a lot of that Egyptian scarab and stuff like that, we found all that up and through there because they were going in there war after war. They would go and win, then they'd lose to like the Seleucids, and they'd get kicked out, and then the Seleucids would bring their fucking shit in, and they'd have their own rituals. So it was like a bunch of these different rituals getting stuck in these little cities all up and down that coast and in Jerusalem as well. And so like all these Ammonites and Midianites and all these people were heavily influenced by a bunch of different cultures.
Amoniskos.
Well, not that.
Amoniskos.
I'm talking
Ammonites are really cool rocks.
Yes, and actually, if you look up the horns, the horns actually, they reference that it's possibly from the fossils actually.
Oh, so they're actually making dildos out of fossils?
They were saying the horns were possibly linked to the actual Ammonite fossils. Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty fun. Wow.
Yeah,
But they found alabastron with opium on it all the way up in modern day Ukraine, my guy.
Well,
so like people would be like, well, this stuff didn't have any crossover culture. Yes, it did.
Let me give you another obvious cultural crossover that's very clear comedy if you know the context of Greek comedy. Do you guys know off the top of your head what Dionysus did with that fig tree? Do you guys know what Dionysus did with the fig tree? Off the top of your heads, do you? Do you know the story?
Just put on it.
Do you know the story of Dionysus and the fig tree? No, because you don't read the Greek comedies. Dionysus cursed the fig tree, cut it down, and made a dildo out of the fig tree and shoved that up his ass until his anus exploded. All right. And figging, if you read Karwak, is a Greek term for fucking in the ass, right? So Dionysus made a dildo out of a fig tree. Jesus in the Bible is mimetic of Dionysus. Yes?
Yes.
What does Jesus do to the fig tree? He curses it.
Right. Yeah.
Guy, I don't know. Like, just fucking
That's
read.
what I thought the second you said Dionysus. I was like,
right. I mean,
I don't know what Dionysus did though.
It's not going to be like, right. The way that this stuff works is that when it comes to the comedy is in the gap, right? The comedy is in the gap between like what the text literally says and what's happening on stage. The comedy is in that gap, right? The comedy is always in the gap. If you read about ancient Greek styles of comedy and jokes and memes, mimetic of meme and pantomime. The comedy is in the gap, right? So it's about the speculation. When you're looking at that gap and you don't know the Greek, right? Amon cannot. Here's the thing that's interesting about Amon. He cannot write an original joke in ancient Greek, right? He could not. Never. He does not have enough of a capability of reading Greek to write an original joke in Greek. That is how you know you have a mastery of the language that you are talking. If you can write an original joke, and you know who can write original jokes? Fucking 4-year-olds. Hey, 4-year-olds can write jokes. So what I'm saying is that Amon Hillman has the capability of Greek, of an equivalent of an Athenian 4-year-old child.
I mean, Witch Doctor, the comedy is literally all over the Old Testament. Even when Myth Vision makes a video, I laugh because he's like, "Did you guys read the verse where Moses said that he was the greatest?" They were like, "Who did this?" And he was like, "Oh, it was me, and you know, I'm the best person." Or he was like complimenting himself, and I'm like, "So he's the one that wrote that?" You know how funny that is? Like you're just being like, "I'm the best person, and I'm the one that did this." And you wrote that about yourself. That's humor, dude. That's fucking humor.
Let me give you another example, right? Like a lot of the this thing about satire is embezzlement, right? Or embellishment, right? You have diminishment, which is taking your subject and making them small. You have embellishment, which is taking your achievements and making them big fish, right? You see this throughout the Old Testament of diminishing the Egyptians and the Babylonians and taking your God and elevating them, right? So the crossing of the Red Sea, right? This is one of those classic, check out Russell Gurmerkin if you want a solid source about how this all plays out. The parting of the Red Sea is a satire of the Jewish engineers diminishing the achievements of the Egyptians, right? So the Red Sea had this series of locks that connected to the Nile, right? And it was for the purpose of desalinating, right? So you would have to make sure that you had the locks so that the salt water didn't make it and ruin all of your irrigation water, right? So this elaborate series of locks. And it was built by Jewish slave labor, not just Jewish, other cultures were the slaves as well, but the Jews were primarily the ones who wrote down their stories. There were other Jews. Oh my God, there were other Jews in Egypt? Say it ain't so. Their stories weren't kept. What? But where? Why? Because it was burnt down. There were slaves. But the evidence was burnt down. The evidence was burnt down. The evidence was burnt. If it's good enough for Graham Hancock to say that the evidence was burnt down and lost because of his ancient destruction, and for Danny Jones fans to go, "Oh my God, it's the smartest thing I've ever fucking heard. Oh my God!" And then to criticize Luke for actually giving the consensus arguments about the history of the Assyrians and the Babylonians. It's like, you fucking dullards. Like, you guys have this is the stuff that I say when Amun is mocking his audience to their faces, right? He's presenting them with two entirely contradictory ideas and turning their brains into pretzels to try to justify them, right? Like, you cannot be a Graham Hancock fan and an Amon Hillman fan. Those are two entirely mutually exclusive forms of pseudoscience. Like, you cannot be the two at the same time. They do not agree about anything, dude. Right? Like, they don't fucking agree. So to have people that love Amun and also love Hill and also love fucking Hancock is the goofiest fucking shit. I'm like, you fucking dullards, right? So you had the crossing of the Red Sea, right? The Red Sea was a series of locks, right, up the river to desalinate, right? And it was built and engineered by Jewish engineers and Jewish slaves, as well as some of them were hired and all that stuff too. Not to diminish them, but the point that the Jews were doing with the crossing of the Red Sea was to diminish that engineering marvel that the Egyptians came up with, right? So crossing the Red Sea was basically saying, they emptied one of the locks, right? Like the spaces between the lock, and then just walked across. Right? Then they're like, "Oh, we crossed the Red Sea," and it's like you guys like you fucking like.
So
silly little Jews.
Oh, they take
you,
it so serious. They're like, we found a
Jews.
chariot wheel at the bottom of the Red Sea.
But like the story, and you can the source for this. If you guys want the source for what I just explained, it's Russell Gurmerkin. I'm not making this up. Russell Gurmerkin says that the crossing of the Red Sea is satire to diminish the achievements of the Egyptians. Like that's what the entire Old fucking Testament is, right? And then you have another generation of Hellenistic Jews in Galilee telling this satirical anti-Roman story and using Jesus as like the center guy, right? Jesus, it means Jason in Greek, right? So you have this connotation of a seafaring god who's a drug guy, right? Jason means drug man. This is Carl Ruck's solid scholarship. Nothing crazy right there, right? But Jesus says, I am better than Jonah. By golly, Jonah is satire. And the writers would have known that. The audience would have known that, right?
Yeah.
So he's saying, I'm a better comedian and a better satirist than Jonah. I mean, come on, guys. Who else uses the swallowed in the belly of a fucking whale story? Fucking Lucian, who is at the exact same fucking time, right? Like, Lucian, here's my if you want me to put my fucking Amon Hillman hat on and say some crazy shit and speculate and fucking, throw some shit out there that I can't back up with actual sources and have to speculate on. Guess who wrote the fucking Gospel of Luke? Luke Acts. Lucian of motherfucking Samosata, right? Lucian of Samosata wrote Luke Acts. All right. And Luke Acts, the writer, the persona that is narrating it, is a persona, one of these masks that Lucian of Samosata puts on. Right. So you can see this throughout Lucian's work where he's wearing these different masks and calling different names. And all of them kind of have to do with like Luke, like Luca, Lucan, Lukey, right? They're all these variants of Luke, right? So Lucian of fucking Samosata wrote Luke Acts, right? And Luke Acts, Paul goes to Samothrace and then goes to Rome, right? That's a parody of Philo, when Philo goes to Rome and meets with Caligula. You guys remember the story of when Philo meets Caligula? Do you guys remember that one off the top of your heads? Philo meets Caligula, and Caligula, he's like, aren't you like the God-fearers? Like, I'm a god. What the hell are you doing here? Like, why are you guys here, right? Philo from Alexandria, he goes there and he's walking in this garden with Caligula, and Caligula says, you guys are God-fearers. What the fuck are you doing here? And then ignores them the entire fucking time. Doesn't say a goddamn word, walks around the garden, and like the Philo is just following him around this fucking garden. And if you look at some of the pictures of Caligula's garden, there's hermaphroditic statues. So on one side, it looks like a beautiful lady, and then you get to the other side, and there's just a massive dong flopping, right? Fucking look this shit up, dude. I'm not making any of this up. Like, I have no reason to lie to you. Yeah, I have no reason to lie to you, right? So Philo, he's walking around following Caligula, begging him, like, oh, please, like, my people are starving, just to be nice to us, blah, blah, blah. And then the only fucking thing that Caligula says, he stops and goes, why don't you guys eat pork? It's just, what the fuck? He just goes, why don't you guys eat pork? And that's like the whole fucking conversation that they have, right? It's so fucking goofy, dude. Like, and like, that's the.
Did you hear they found Caligula's like Roman coffee table in New York City? Somebody actually had it. They dated it back to like Caligula, and it's like all psychedelic, like with the Greca and shit on it. It's pretty badass.
Like the iconography on it, or like the residue?
Yeah, like the pattern and stuff. Like
okay, right on.
And then I think there are some historians, Roman historians, that wrote that he was actually doing stuff like that. But and then we all know Marcus Aurelius was using a bunch of stuff too. So I think it's just part of the culture. Like they were just trading, using things, doing comedy. Politics was huge, but them being a part of like the average day social atmosphere was also big. It's like if you're a citizen of Rome and you see Caligula at a fucking theater, you know how badass that is, and you're gonna, he's one of us, you know. And it's just a thing that they did just to deal with like all of the war that was going on at the time. I mean, people really need to gel that. Really go and look. There's some history, like war history channels that I post sometimes. People should go watch those because they actually show the battles, like what culture went where, what was instilled, who stayed, when they left, when they were kicked out. And I think that plays heavily into all of this. And I mean, it's just, to me, it's night and day. I mean, the other side of the coin is you got guys like Giorgiani going around going, the parting of the Red Sea was a UFO.
Giorgiani's a fucking. I mean, he's that guy that was in that. You remember the video of Giorgiani saying that we're gonna put Hitler's face on coins and shit? Did you ever see that? Do you remember that back in the day? So Giorgiani was like a leader in the fucking alt-right back in the day, dude. Like, you know, like the Jews will not replace us, fucking Charlottesville fucking riots and shit. Like Giorgiani was one of those dudes. Like he was right there with Spencer and shit. Like Richard Spencer, the dude that got punched in the face. Like if I ever see Giorgiani in person, I'm gonna punch that guy in his fucking face. Like it's like I'm just being honest, dude. Like the guy's a fucking Nazi. I'm gonna punch him in his fucking face, right? And like,
yeah,
you know, I read a lot of the same fucking philosophy that he reads. Like, I love Heidegger. Heidegger was a Nazi, but like, I still read Heidegger. I fucking learned a ton about Heraclitus because I read Heidegger. I fucking love Heidegger. But like,
he was a Nazi, but he was kind of forced to be one, and then he left and kind of denounced it.
He became a fucking hermit and wandered off into the woods. Witch Doctor's back. Added stage. Boom. Yo, Witch Doctor, what up, dude? What do you got? Oh, you got that burning purple?
Yeah.
Oh man, look at those squiggly lines, dude. It's so esoteric.
Oh shit.
That's some esoteric shit you got there.
But Japanese. I can't tell. That's from the gas station. No.
They had Japanese stuff at your gas station? Korean stuff at your gas station? No shit.
They let that happen in Texas.
Yeah, seriously.
I know, right? Yeah, no, we have this freeze coming up, so I went there to get stuff. I had to get a freaking thing of propane and some gas and just some other BS food and whatnot. Just so I
don't think we're gonna lose power, man. I think they put like $200 million into winterizing the grid, the power grid. So I think we'll be all right.
Well, yeah, you guys had a crazy storm like 4 years ago. I don't think that's gonna happen again.
Yeah, that was nuts.
Yeah. Well, and now they already know that they can stimulate the economy so much by overhyping a storm because everybody goes out and buys everything like I have done.
Yeah, welcome to New England. That's every year in New England.
Yeah, I used to live in Virginia, and we did get snow in Roanoke. That was badass, actually. Real snow. Not like just like that one time a year, 2 times a year, or whatever. Hell, I need to probably wrap it up in a little bit if that's cool, yo.
Yeah, man. Grab your Sindon, wrap that thing up.
Cool. Grab your Sindon.
Grab that Sindon, wrap that
Sindon.
Oh, shit, that was good.
That was perfect.
But don't you see the iron? Like, you know that whole story about Jesus getting on the boat and like all the people are scared, all the little, you know, they're all scared to go across the sea because of the storms, and Jesus like, no, I got this. So they finally go across, and who do they see when they get there? A fucking midget.
Midget. Dude, a midget.
It's so funny, dude.
It's so imagine how goddamn funny that is, dude.
And also, he's the fisher of men, and when you get there, it's a little man.
It's a little guy, dude. It's like a fish, like a. Oh man,
he's like the guy. Hey boss, the plane.
No,
he's
the
like
guy from
somebody's like, you're gonna meet fucking Jackie Chan to learn Chinese karate, and you fucking show up and it's fucking Bobby Lee sitting there.
Oh man, dude, it's so comedic, dude. They're everywhere, and like, why do and like they always have huge dongs, so like the whole dong thing is always funny, right? Like that's part of the comedic effect of having dwarves on stage. They have disproportionately big dongs, dude. It's so goddamn funny. So like having a dwarf dong flapping around on stage, like you would expect to see that in this type of play. right? It's not controversial. And Amon doesn't have that backed up for his theory, dude. He doesn't have that. The texts don't support it. The actual archaeology doesn't support it. None of it, dude. And I've got all of that. Like, I've got the text. I've got the fucking archaeology. I've got defibrillated Dionysian dwarves in gardens at 4 a.m. Like, you ain't got it, right? Like, debate me, Amon. I'll do it on Danny Jones.
All books or just Mark?
What's that?
You took all the books, Luke, Mark.
Oh yeah, all of them are satire. Yeah, start to finish, all of the
dude. So I looked up. I literally went book by book and literally went verse by verse with the scholars that were writing the papers on this stuff, and it's almost all of them witch doctor.
Yeah. There's a book that has I can't remember the name of it, but it goes through all of the Old Testament and finds all of the comedy and, like, book by book by book, chapter by chapter. What are the jokes? What's the irony? Yada yada yada. And like half of it's about fucking Jonah. Obviously,
the one that I brought up to Neil was like, and he was like, "No, I don't believe that was real." And it's like, well, duh, like who does? But the 42 kids were mauled by one bear because they were making fun of bald guy Elisha.
Yeah,
like come on, guys, like like. It's this stuff that, like Mandy said, it's so embellished. It's obviously comedy.
I'll give you the so the 42 kids being killed by the bear. It's the same stagecraft that is used for the comedic effect of Cersei's pigs in the cemeteries story, right? Where you have a high platform, and then you have something in front, and then you have like pillows behind it, right? And then you have a set of stairs. So they climb up, they fall down, they climb up, they fall down, they climb up, they fall down, right? So the visual effect on stage looks like, oh, it's, so many children that are being mauled by the bear, right? So they would get attacked and then run up the stairs, get attacked, run and fall down and like do the loop. It's when you see that many like something being killed by one thing, right? That is like a dozen people on stage or 6 people being killed a bunch of times over and over and over. So it makes it look like it's a ton, right? It's a classic Greek fucking stagecraft. Like you see it everywhere. This is a motif that's just like you see it everywhere, and they still do it to this day. Like this is a classic technique that you see in theaters to do that same effect, right? I don't know the technical term for it, but you can look it up, and there's a technical term for that effect, right? It's just the multiple people being killed over and over thing. It's a common motif. It's the stagecraft in Cersei's with the pigs and shit. Like it's classic. Like literally, like there's a couple of books that I would recommend people if they want to learn about the history of like ancient stagecraft and all of that. Check out Demons and Dancers by Ruth Webb. That one's absolutely great. It'll tell you all about like the culture and like the fact that a lot of these stage performers were slaves. So like how that affected their their mindset and all that shit. So check out that book. I recommend everybody check out fucking Demons and Dancers. I was listening to it today. She has another book that's absolutely great too. The Giorgiani loves Ayn Rand and considers himself a philosopher, but really just copies misspelled name Nietzsche. Here's the thing about Nietzsche that's really, really fun. I was reading the Twilight of the Gods, Twilight of the Idols, and my copy has the Antichrist too, because they're both pretty short. And at one point, Nietzsche's like literally verbatim, I'm probably going to quote him pretty close to what he actually said. He said that there are 2 things that are the antidote to Christianity. One is philology and the other is medicine. And this is Friedrich fucking Nietzsche saying this, like 200 years before Amon even had the thought even fucking crossed his mind, dude. Like Nietzsche was orders of magnitude better philologist than Amon could ever be on his best day, right? Give Amon 100 years, he couldn't hold a fucking candle to Nietzsche, right? And Nietzsche, said that the antidote to Christianity is philology and medicine. So Amon's entire fucking bullshit act about, oh, you got the medicine and the philology, the medicine, the philology, the medicine, philology. Like, you don't need to read Amon. You can read fucking Nietzsche. I read Nietzsche when I was 13. Like, what's your guys' fucking excuse? Like, why are you enamored by Amon telling you what Nietzsche already fucking said, right? Like it's not hard, guys. Like just fucking read Nietzsche. Most people
throw
Nietzsche's,
another one.
Nietzsche's
I'll throw
one of
another one
those
at
like
you.
unread
With-
fucking philosophers, dude. What was that?
I'll throw another one at you. At you. So I was thinking about Nietzsche, right? So when he said God is dead, and then people read that and they go, "Oh, it's a bad thing because we need that to quell society." I read that and heard that, and I was just like, "That's fucking hilarious." And I
Yeah.
think that's the way he looked at it too, because he was also a big fan of Machiavelli. And Machiavelli actually has some humor in there, and people don't pick that up either. They're just reading that like, "Oh, he's just an asshole," but he's reading what he says is true because that's all about power.
Machiavelli, The Prince, is satire. It's a work of satire. It's what to do. It's a guide on how to ruin a monarchy, right? So if you want to tear down a monarchy and you have like an inside way to subvert the monarchy and get your ear in the prince or whatever, follow what Machiavelli said. And over the course of 100, 200 years, you're going to set the seeds for failure and breathe the decline of the monarchy and sow the seeds for republicanism and democracy, right? So it's a satire on how to, achieve revolution subvertively, right? Like, and it doesn't take a ton to read this. There's tons of people who have written about Machiavelli and how it's a guide to subvert monarchy and sow the seeds for revolution and for democracy. Like, just fucking read the literature, guys. Like, this is the thing about the theory and methodology and like this how they're dirty words now. It's like, oh, this is where you get a lot of the like nuance is reading the secondary text, right? You go to the primary source. Oh, guess what, Amon? Like, your book is a secondary source, and people go to you. Like, you're a secondary source. Like, you're not a primary source. So they're going to you for your interpretation and your speculation, like, and your rhetoric and your logic and your theories, just like any other secondhand source, like secondary source, right? Like, if you want to learn about fucking Heraclitus, read what Heidegger had to say. You'll learn more about Heraclitus than reading Heraclitus, right? Like, you don't have the language skills. You cannot smell what Heraclitus was smelling. So the things that Heraclitus is describing to you, you don't have the capacity to understand them. When Heraclitus says that souls perceived by a smell in the underworld, you don't know what he's saying. You do not have the linguistic skills. You don't have the philology behind you. You don't have the Greek. And Amon, even on his fucking best day, does not have the Greek to describe and explain what Heraclitus meant when he said souls smell in the underworld, right? Because the Greek language does not have a word for the internal sense of aroma, right? An olfactory mind, smelling with your mind nose. The Greek is not capable of putting together those sorts of words. They didn't do that, right? So when I was like, getting into this shit, and I was like, oh, I'm interested in learning Greek. I asked Amon, I'm like, well, what is the Greek word for smelling with your mind nose? And he goes, they didn't have one. I go, well, it was nice meeting you. I'm not going to learn Greek because it's useless language to me, right? I can create a neologism for smelling with your mind nose in English that can communicate more than the Greek is capable of doing. So why the fuck am I going to go learn Mother Greek, right? Like, I can't smell Mother Greek's pussy and describe that smell in ancient Greek because it does not capable. I can't smell Mother Greek. I can't take the Mother Greek pussy and go and smell it and describe it in ancient Greek. It's not capable of doing that, right? And here's another fucking...
I don't understand that. I don't understand how Greek cannot describe how... maybe I'm misunderstanding what you're saying. Greek can't describe how something smells.
Greek does not have the capacity to describe your inner sense of smell, right? So you know how we have the word imagination? The word imagination means to create an image, a picture in your mind, right? A mind picture. There's no word in Greek for creating a mind smell, right? But we can babble
in English.
What's that?
Describe it in English.
In English, we would have the word, we have the neologism now available to us, which would be, haha, I made you say jism. The neologism available to us that is nose, gnosis, and nose, noose, right? So internal olfactory gnosis, right? The knowledge of what it means when you can imagine, when you can use your mind for smells, right? We all are capable of doing it, but our words are clumsy. Even the English language is clumsy and barbaric with this, because most of the words in every human language have to do with seeing and hearing. Most of the words. There are very, very, very few words for what we smell. Our language is absolutely barbaric when it comes to describing aroma. The ancient Greek language, with its bajillion and a half, unique words, also has a very limited vocabulary for describing smell, right? But everybody smells, everybody, and they have smelled for 300,000 years and have been describing aroma for 300,000 years. Yet the most magnificent fucking language in the world has a tiny, tiny little limited vocabulary, as tiny and little and limited as our English language. So fuck off, right? Like, there's no reason to need to learn Greek if what you're actually trying to do is obtain gnosis, right? Gnosis, right? The gnosis comes from.
I'm gonna bounce another one off you. You brought up Heraclitus. So for people listening and they want to start reading philosophy the way that it's actually written and the way that Mandy's talking about it, a good example would be what Wittgenstein made a joke off of Heraclitus's shit. And if you don't understand that, you don't understand philosophy. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the easiest examples. And that's one of the things that he's famous for. So the thing was, Heraclitus was famous for saying you cannot walk into the same river twice, right? Anywhere. Wittgenstein said, well, that's not really a problem because it's a non-issue. That's basically what basically you're perfect as you are. Don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. And that was his thing. But it's like comedy based off of a play. The way I see it, it's a comedic play off of somebody else's phrase. It's like a comedian making a joke off another comedian's famous skit, right? That's the way I see it. And if you don't see the philosophy like that, then I guess you're just reading it like you think it's all true. Kind of like I was trying to bring up with like Neil on the Bible. He was just like assuming all of it was real shit. And I'm just like, why are you doing that? People really need to start reading this stuff the way that it was intended. And I think intent, style, structure, start studying that stuff to understand what Mandy's talking about. And I think once you start doing that, it's going to be very clear to most people.
And the fact that you've read philosophy, you understand intent, style, and structure, and all of that. And when Amon says he doesn't care about the author's intent, that is him signifying that he is what is called philosophically, like theoretically, like his milieu. That's called post-structuralism, right? That is the death of the author. So you're in Derrida territory and shit when you're talking about when Amon's doing his fucking thing, right? Which is not like very well received in academia. Like academia is all about that structuralism. Carl Ruck, a lot of his stuff methodologically is structuralist, right? He's using structuralism and a lot of like Freudian theory and stuff to do his interpretations. And like he's upfront about what theory he's using for his interpretations and stuff and what his sources are. And then Amon comes and goes, oh, I'm a post-structuralist. Death of the author, it doesn't fucking matter. But he's not going to tell you that. And like, his audience has never read fucking Foucault. They've never read Derrida. They've never read Roland Barthes. They've never read, like, they don't know this stuff. So when he says death of the author, he doesn't care. They don't know, like, they think that's an original thing to him. You know what I mean? They think, he's a genius. He doesn't care about the intent of the author. It's like, motherfucker, read Derrida. Like, fucking read Derrida. And like, tell me that like ancient Greek is hard to understand. Derrida's fucking hard to understand, you dullards. And like, I was reading Derrida when I was in high school. So like, there's no excuse for this shit to not know it. Like, and to be like taken in and
but what are the French, I'm going to say this, dude, the French philosophy, when people look at that, they all think about postmodernism and all this other shit, right? To me, I love it, like Foucault and others, Baudrillard, whatever, because most of them, I would say the best ones, they don't have a conclusion. And that's what my fucking point is every time I say it. I'm like, don't have don't have a teleology. Don't have something in your mind that you say, I know what. Because even in Foucault, when he was going at Chomsky, that's a big difference. It's not about what side you pick, but of course, people are going to pick right or left, whatever. But when Foucault was like, Chomsky's like, well, what is your solution? He's like, I don't have one. I just started laughing my ass off, and I'm like, that's what it's all fucking about, right there. Don't live your life that you have everything mapped out so perfectly that it's going to go this way, that way. You know everything. Maybe you should start living life that you don't know shit, and just try doing stuff that maybe you haven't done before, and enjoy fucking life. It's short, man. You know?
Yeah. You know, I mean, it's funny to like to read Amon's material, because like if you read The Chemical Muse, there's a lot of like actual like dialectic materialism and like class consciousness built into the book. But if you don't have an academic background, you haven't read Marx, you haven't read any critical theory or anything like that, all that stuff's going to go right over your fucking head. And you're just going to go, oh, like you're going to read it, and you don't have a neuro-linguistic reality tunnel to formulate anything what's being communicated to you. So you're just reading past it until you get to like a drug reference, or you get to, you know what I mean? Like you're playing word games with yourself, most of these people, because they don't know like what he's actually saying or any of it, because they don't have academic backgrounds. None of them are academics, right? Most of them don't. They didn't read The Chemical Muse and see his fucking footnote to Schopenhauer, where he quotes Schopenhauer saying, reality is what I will it to be, right? And you go, hell yeah, Schopenhauer. And I'm like, I like that shit, right? I like that shit. But then when you go and like try to con your audience using like the philosophy that I love Derrida, I love Deleuze, I love Foucault, I love Heidegger, I love fucking Roland Barthes, I love all of this post-structuralist fucking leftist fucking like queer study, fucking critical theory, fucking Freudian, post-Freudian fucking bullshit. Like that's my milieu. Like that's where I come from, right? So like when he goes and tries to like present that shit as though like he's some fucking genius, I'm like, dude, you're not a genius for saying the Greeks didn't have a word for gay. Like fucking Foucault said that forever ago. Just fucking quote Foucault and just fucking move on. Like Foucault is what you read when you're a fucking freshman, like undergrad, dude. Like that is entry level shit, and he says it to his audience, and they think it's fucking mind-blowing, brilliant shit. Like the Greeks didn't have a word for homosexual. What? And it's like, guys, just read Foucault. It's assigned in fucking philosophy 101. Like when you're a fucking freshman, like go to college, you fucking dullards. Like what did you people study? Like what the fuck did you people study? And like how did you get here? If you're like blown away by this bald guy on the fucking internet saying there's no word in Greek for fucking gay, like get the fuck out of here, you dullards. Like the stupidity that was brought to this community through fucking through Danny Jones just blows my goddamn mind, dude. Like just like another level of dullardom, dude. Another level of dullardom.
Yes, but all that philosophy too. I mean, so like I was thinking of who is it? Who's the other French guy that we're missing? Sartre.
Yeah,
Sartre, man. That's all of his shit is just like that. And then you have people that leave it open, but then you have people that are just it's just a bunch of comedy, in my opinion, going off of each other like constantly in that realm. But then you have books like by Deleuze and Guattari, when they write fucking like 4 books, and the answer after you read 4 fucking books for what they describe as philosophy is so simple. You read 4 books, and 4 books later the answer is it's just creation.
Just concept, like, making shit up. It's just making shit up, guys. Just have fun. Like, just have fun and make shit up, because like they were doing it back then. You can do it too. And if the more books you read, the more fun it is to make shit up, because like you have a larger neuro-linguistic reality tunnel. So like, you know, it's absurd to me, you know, and like. I love fucking with his fans, and like even when I was one of them, like it was fun because like I got to attack Christians and, you know, fucking Bible scholars and, you know, people that only are literate in Hebrew and don't know shit about Greek. So they go talking, waxing intellectual about Greek and get tripped up on like entry level shit. And like, you know, and it's really fun. You get to call those people out because they are indeed dullards, but like, you don't need to be at Amon's level to recognize how fucking stupid, you know, your average person is, right? Like, it doesn't take a ton. So you can like, remember Richard Carey? You interviewed Richard Carey. Yeah. He wrote that article about Amon saying some shit about how he uses Mott and Bailey as like a strategic technique. You know who taught that? Who perfected that Mott and Bailey technique? I perfected that shit. I perfected it. Like, I'm the one who, like, all of the strategic Mott and Bailey stuff that you see the Ammonites trying to do, they're doing a pale imitation of what I perfected. Right. And I perfected it like mocking people like Kip Davis, like making fun of him because he's fucking dumb. Like, I thought that guy was dumb for a long fucking time. So when Amon goes after, I'm like, oh, that's fun. Like, I fucking already don't like that guy. So I'm just gonna go fucking make fun of him, right?
That guy really doesn't like you.
He doesn't like me at all. And he has not liked me like for a long fucking time. And like,
I think I've made a few guys mad too.
Yeah, but like, I mean, Kip sucks. He's dumb. He doesn't know Greek, so like, it's fun to fuck with the guy. He's really good at Hebrew, I guess, and Aramaic, I guess. But like, I don't give a fuck. Like, I genuinely don't, because like,
does anybody know what happened to Midvision?
He posted a video recently.
Yeah. He's like I don't know. I'm just curious.
Yeah, he started making like a political react channel and all that shit. I don't really care.
It's something. A lot of things have changed. I don't know. I was just checking.
He's always been, in my opinion, he's still very an evangelical Christian mindset, and I think he just took that, his background in being an evangelical, and just made it into a YouTube thing and tried to just make more channels, bring in more money. I mean, he already told everybody, he's like, I'm trying to buy a bigger house for my family, so I need to do make more money. Then he did a fundraiser for Kip Davis, where he was like asking people to send donations in to get Kip a new camera. So the guy's clearly money oriented.
I think Derek is atheist though.
Yeah, no, I think he switched, but I'm just saying like that when you grow up as because he said it himself, he used to be an evangelical Christian. Right. That doesn't just go away overnight. You can't just prop up a pirate flag and expect to be a different person overnight,
Yeah. Well, here's the thing that I will give Derek credit for. Derek has read Lucian and understands the importance of Lucian, understands the importance of the satire and all of that. And I've talked to the guy about it. He was like, hey, can you, like, literally, like, one time I was kind of trolling him in his Discord, and he was like, hey, can you actually send me a source that says the Bible is satire? And I sent him a source that says the Bible is satire. I sent him the style guide to the Bible, like the biblical style guide. The fucking writer of it says, in no uncertain terms, the Bible is the most satirical book ever written. No uncertain terms.
100%.
Right?
100%.
And it's the biblical style guide. So if you study in college, the textbook that you are going to get to you, biblical style, says the Bible is the most satirical book ever written. Like, I'm not making this shit up. I'm just trying to illuminate it. Humanity. And I'm also, jovial and fucking over the top and able to make jokes and, fucking mock people and shit.
This online?
Yeah. Oh, Mandy Moorehol is a character, guys. Did you guys know that? When you call me on the phone, you're not talking to Mandy Moorehol. You're talking to a dude that owns a flower farm and like and drives a BMW. Like, I'm like, you know what I mean? Like, it's
pretty sweet BMW.
My BMW is fucking awesome. I was trying to buy a Volvo wagon and I ended up buying a BMW wagon. Whatever. It was a better deal.
Oh,
but,
nice.
You're when you call me on the phone, you're not. It's a different voice, a different manner. It's a different. You know what I mean? So when I say, oh, Amon's he's doing a character, he's doing theatrics. It's like, yeah, I performed for you what I just explained to you. Right? I'm doing the demonstration and the explanation at the same time. Right? That is a methodological thing that goes back to the Greeks. Right? It goes back to them. So like, if you don't like study their fucking style and their style of rhetoric, you're never gonna get a lot of the jokes that a lot of these fucking philosophers that are on the level of Nietzsche and orders of magnitude funnier than Amon are capable of making to each other. Right? Tons of the Western canon of philosophy is actually very, very smart people making jokes back and forth to each other that their audience doesn't understand. Right?
Yeah.
And then confusing them and trying to get into this, oh, what did he mean here? What do they mean there? And people write dissertations and fucking, inspired and all that. But it's just fucking nerds who learn to read Greek and Latin, referencing Horace and fucking Juvenal and fucking Lucian back and forth at each other over your fucking head. Over your head. You're not going to notice.
Do you remember the trip that they describe? I forget which philosopher was describing it. It might have been Deleuze, talking about Sartre's trip when he ate mushrooms or acid. I forget what it was, but I thought you would love this one, but you should go read it, Mandy, if you haven't. He was being chased by a giant crab.
That's some Moana shit right there.
The crabs, right? That comes from Samothrace. They are the what is it? The Corabites, the Corabores, the Corabites. It's something like that. But they were dwarves on stage, and they would dress them up as crabs, and they would dance around the stage during the performance. And they were just these little, dancing crabs that would like wander. And it was mimetic and a parody of the crabs that were actually on the coast. And they would come out, for mating at night, you know what I mean? And like huge waves. I don't know if you ever seen this sort of thing, but you can take a look at Samothrace and see the crabs that, wash on shore or, come on shore and whatever, like on the rocks and all that shit. But the mystery rites, they have crabs that were, these little dwarf guys that were running around dancing with their dongs out, dressed up, painted red, like the crabs, and had these little crab, and their dongs were just flapping around, right? And then like the performance, the mystery rites, the myth was performed on stage as they were dancing around. So they were like comic relief for the very seriousness of what's going on in these mystery rites, right? And if you read Henderson, for apparently now with Amon's fucking audience, Henderson's bad. Who the fuck would have thought? After Amon referencing that guy over and over and over and over and over and not really giving him credit. Here's another fucking thing. Right on Danny Jones's fucking show, Amon quotes from Henderson word for word without giving him credit. And then the next week on his fucking show, he holds up Henderson's fucking book and says, I used to love this and now I disavow it. And it's all theory and speculation and blah. It's like, motherfucker, how come a couple of weeks ago during your interview, it was perfectly fine to quote him word for word about the flute girls? His chapter about the flute girls, about the fellatio in Henderson is exactly word for word. If somebody wants to clip this, one of you fucking dumb Amoniscos, go find Amon saying the flute girls gave fellatio to the fucking the guest at the goddamn dinners, and then go to Henderson and look exactly what Henderson says in his opening paragraph in his chapter on fellatio. It's exactly word for word what Amon said to Danny Jones's face. And then Amon has the audacity to go on his show and tell his audience that Henderson's bad because theory bad, methodology bad. I'm like, his audience is so fucking dumb that they don't know that they're being mocked, right? They go, oh my God, the flute girls. And then he goes, Henderson bad. And they go, Henderson bad. It's like, you're being fucked with to your face. He's making fun of you. He's making fun of his audience, dude.
In the philosophy and classical world to make a joke out of the very thing. So for example, Ethan Cohen with the movie Oh Brother Where Art Thou. It's every redneck's favorite movie, and they're making fun of how ignorant the Southern populace was in that time and always has been, kind of in a way. Or in Lady Killers, just the sheer ignorance of the Bible folk, the ridiculousness of the choir in the church. I don't know. The punching up is a big part of philosophy, and arguably probably anybody that studied classics too.
Well, it's all they had to get at the political class. And so again, when they're in war, times of war, and being told you have to send your kids to war, what do you think they did? They acted out in a theater. That's all they could do. That was like their way to vent.
Right. Yeah. So I need to probably bounce in a minute, but if you could share my screen, Mandy, before I take off, I
Yeah,
just
how
want
do I do that, Johnny? You wanna...
Yeah. We had a pretty good episode. I definitely went a little longer than I
Oh yeah,
planned.
no, we were having fun, man. This was cool. We got
Yeah.
to,
No.
we got the
Shout
shit
out to
knocked
my
down on the
wife,
East Coast.
Lady Witch Doctor, for watching the baby. She worked all day, and so she's got him right now. But she feeds him. So that's
Yeah. So this wasn't a talk about unknown show. This was actually a talk about Witch Doctor's new book, and tell the people where they can buy it and they can check it out. Is it available on Kindle, hardcover, softcover? Yeah. What's the deal, dude?
Yeah, so they're both books. However, I don't really care about Witch Doctor Christianity going very far. But both books are on Amazon. Secundus, which it's just the Latin word for second. That's all that it means. For those that are kind of wondering what that even means, it's probably what you're thinking. But you probably wouldn't have thought that was the name of the book. There's really not a lot of other books out there, unless it's like a second grade Greek book or a Latin book or that says Secundus on it. So anyway, he is the second son. I'll go ahead and just read it. Raised in the shadow of Rome's brutality, Secundus expected to become a warrior. Born the second son of Antonius Niger Athetes, a feared and respected warrior and now gladiator trainer of Capua. Remember, guys, go watch Spartacus. Secundus grows up watching his older brother Marcus rise to the sands of the arena. But when Rome's ambitions stretch to new lands, Secundus is swept into a world far harsher than the amphitheater. From the blood-soaked forests of Dacia, which is modern-day Romania, to the political tensions of Jerusalem, Secundus faces ambushes, loss, and psychological wounds no Roman training could have prepared him for. Haunted by battle, shaped by gladiators, savages, and torn between duty and identity, he descends into the darkness required to survive Rome's wars. Yet everything changes when he encounters a man unlike any he's ever seen, a man whose words challenge the brutal logic of empire. As Secundus wrestles with violence, trauma, loyalty, he must decide who he will become, a weapon of Rome or something far more powerful. Secundus, get the hard copy, and you get this nice little heartthrob thirst trap on the front of this one. Now, there is a soft copy. It's actually behind me on the bed bookshelf thing back here. It has a picture of Secundus holding something in his hand, but there's a link in the, I don't know if you pinned it to the top or not, but there was a link in the private chat if you want to throw it into that. It'll be in the description either way. Yeah, and it'll be in my descriptions and stuff as well because I am sharing this. Yeah, click on it, check it out, and soon there will be a I'll go ahead and put this. Soon there will be the prequel to Secundus will be released. It's called Antonius. You'll see why. Obviously, we just read the description. Antonius is his dad. So Antonius will come out next, and then you'll see sequels. I won't say much, but I think a lot of y'all, when you get through this, you're going to be able to predict some of the things that we're doing here and other things. Probably not so much. But like I said, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, 40,000 words.
Oh, okay. All right.
Let's see, the Outsiders, 40,000 words. The Great Gatsby, 38.8 thousand words. This is 40,000 words, 40.5. So it's about an 8-hour read. And so if somebody picks this up, if you just read it a few hours every day, or even when you're just sitting on the toilet, more than likely about a week later, you'll be done and you'll be drawn into my world here.
Witch Doctor, can I ask you a question? Have you attempted any bibliomancy with your book at all?
What's that?
Are you familiar with bibliomancy? Bibliomancy is one of the things that the Christians used to do very, very early on with their Bible. They would take it and say, blah, 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 Jesus, please send me a message. What is the message that you're sending me? And flip through the book. And when they're felt compelled to stop, they would read that passage from their book. And I want to ask you, would you want to do a little bibliomancy to close the show out? Just do a little. Let's say a prayer to the. Say a prayer to the muses. Muses, what is the message from Witch Doctor, Secundus, And after this, I'm gonna go drop a really mean Secundus in honor of Boroboros. Muses, what is the message? Please deliver the message to us from Secundus.
Yeah. You only have to read like 2 lines.
Yeah, read a couple of lines. What did the muse deliver to you?
Well,
Okay.
2 lines?
Whatever you want to read, just whatever the muse delivered. Trust the muse. Read
Okay.
She delivered it to you through the page. What she delivered? What page are you on?
I'm on page 22.
Oh, all right. What did she deliver on page 22 of your own book? Bibliomancy, ladies and ladies.
Yes. Another year had passed, and the streets of Capo were crowded with boys, all 17 years of age, gathered by magistrates and town fathers for the annual muster. The sun hung low over the morning sky, burning with the kind of heat that made the stone walls shimmer, and the air smelled faintly of dust and sweat. Families stood clustered in the square, the chatter of farewells mingling with the creak of wagons and the braying of packed animals. Young women crying, pulling in the arms of their new husband heading to Rome's front line. Among them, Antonius, Livia, Catalina, Secundus, and Marcus made their way through the throng. Marcus's departure had been planned for weeks. Antonius had arranged for him to join a friend, a veteran of a special division of Rome's army known as the Spectralores. Due to the scribe skills, Marcus could write. Due to the scribe skills of Rome and brutal hand-to-hand combat training that their entire lives. They were scouts, spies, and elite messengers trained for speed, discretion, and brutal efficiency. Marcus and Secundus had developed a working knowledge of different dialects from various helpers over the years. Their father's estate, not to mention gladiators from all 4 corners of the earth, taking the time to teach the boys all the tricks of their trade. Unusual languages and various skin tones, some extremely light with reddish hair, others as dark as the night sky. Little did the boys know that growing in an environment having people from different cultures was going to help them in battle. With the Roman army being extremely diverse, this gave Marcus an advantage for making companions and learning new skills that would be fitting for the Spectralores. Marcus would travel under the tutelage of the man who himself learned from Antonius long ago. And in this way, the family's legacy would continue. Decimus Maximus Varro, a deadly spy and known scribe. He's to take Marcus under his wing and expand his knowledge.
Yo, the muse delivers when you let her, dude. That was fucking great, man.
And it was one of my favorite pages that we listened to. You know, we got up to chapter 7 while I was cleaning my studio. So, you know, that was what, chapter 4 or 5, I think.
You know, what I really love is that you're doing a, you know, is the pen mightier than the sword kind of a thing there. You know what I mean? Like the muse delivered, like, you know, that's what she delivered to me while you were reading that. You know what I mean? Was like, you know, sometimes when depending on your age, the pen may seem mightier than the sword. Sometimes the sword might be mightier than the pen, depending on how much vocabulary you have, you know. And the more people you know, the more diverse your group is. You're getting back to linguistic reality tunnels again. The wider your linguistic reality tunnel is. You know what I mean? The more capable you are of obtaining gnosis, the more words you have to describe the things around you. You know what I mean? And you know, that's a beautiful thing. So, you know, and you're also looking at like the war aspect of it, right? So you're kind of getting in that Tower of Babel where, like, you know, a lot of the wars have to do with miscommunication, and like sometimes the miscommunication is deliberate. You know, I love that. Like, you know, that's what the muse just did. The muse delivered. And, you know, when we talk about the muse and we talk about, you know, bibliomancy and we talk about chaos magic, and, you know, when you are a creative and you have a communion with Calliope, when you have a communion with the muses, Talia in my case, you know, the goddess of comedy, and also, you know, have a communion with Momos and a communion with Balbo, right? This is what I channel when I read other people's material. When I read what the muse delivered somebody else, you know, I read it through my Balboian, my Hecatian like framework that I have, my linguistic reality tunnel. So, you know, that's one of my favorite things about you know, having creative friends and having friends who are writers, is that You know, you probably didn't intend that when you wrote it, right? But because of the death of the author, I'm able to maybe, you know, contribute my interpretation and what the muse delivered to me with your work, right? I'm not trying to interpret what the muse delivered to you. That's your story to tell. You can tell what the muse delivered to you, but reading what the muse delivered to you and my impression, you know, that's beautiful post-structuralism and postmodernism and, you know, all that, you know, methodological stuff. I love it. It's all chaos magic, man.
Have you ever wondered how people interpret how they read another book? Like, I've always wondered, like, does the guy look the same to someone else?
Right. Like, what image in their mind, you know, like if they were to cast an actor for your book.
Right.
Would they
everyone thinking the same guy or no?
Right. Like, how much do you, and, you know, one of the things that you did in there that I love is that you're using the olfactory as a rhetorical device, right? You incorporated the smell of the dirt, the smell of the environment, right? That takes you out of the text. You can't smell that, but if you can relate to it, you're building your own mind palace, right? Like,
I'll be honest, a lot of that is also like taking up space on the page too. I'm like, all right, let me go in here and write like the sun was just barely creeping over the trees when the dew started to evaporate off the grass that morning. You know, like just to take up space and slow down the cinematic effect. Because the way that Secundus is kind of written, and I think everybody will know what I mean, it's written like a movie.
Right.
It's not a script.
Is it 3 acts or 5 acts?
Yeah, it's not ready to be a script for sure. There's so much left out of what you would end up having for dialogue even to make the fucking movie. But yeah, it reads like a movie where it's like in your brain when you remember the book, it's not going to take up weeks and weeks of reading it. It's not going to take up a lot of room, you know. It's and a big portion of it, you know, and not to give a whole lot away, you know, people know a lot about some of the stuff in this story. They already know a lot about it.
Yeah.
So once they realize what is happening in this book, it's like they already have so much, but then it's not the same.
Hell yeah, man.
Which took so long to get there. I mean, it really did. Like before, writing a different book is a period piece. You'll publish it, and then a year later, you'll realize that you screwed something up. You'll realize that's a way that you referred to maybe a rank or you know what I mean? So you don't want to be too detailed when you're writing fiction, unless it's like the costume that the person's wearing, the height, the look, like Skobie, Harry Potter, looked exactly how he described it in the book. I've only read the half of the second book. I've never read any other Harry Potter in my life, but when the first movie came out, I read the beginning of the second book. And then I said, okay, this is fucking stupid. So like I let that go. And then when the movie came out, I watched it and I was like, that looks just like how they described it. And one of the authors I asked advice on a long time ago. And it was something I wanted to make sure that I didn't do, or at least the overall vibe was that you can't have too many details with too many characters. You run the risk of them sounding the same.
Yeah.
You know, the dad's got to sound different than Secundus. Secundus got to be a little different than the other friends he has. You know, what do? I make them from different countries. That way they can't seem the same. Because when you think of Secundus has a friend named Zarek. Well, Zarek's from India. So there's an Indian Roman right next to Secundus, and they barely understand each other the whole time.
Right.
They're doing shit, you know. And they're learning the languages, and you see this broken down in the book where they're saying "good job" in each other's language to each other, practicing fighting and stuff. And
Hell yeah, dude.
See that civil affairs guy in me trying to put that into the book for sure. And there's going to be more to come. There's way more to come that no one's done what I'm doing.
Yeah,
is you know, I mean, there's been some movies that have had some different swings and that is for sure, but this, I think people are going to really enjoy this one the most. But anyway,
yeah, dude.
When you said Capua, did you know that Capua was the city that had the black market where they would sell all the drugs?
Capua?
Yeah.
I mean, I've watched, oh God, a lot of different documentaries on Capo when I was writing about it, but I didn't know about that. No. Well, something that here is something that I will say. Knowing that there was a lot of these markets and stuff everywhere, knowing the priestesses were everywhere, there are priestesses in this story, and there's stuff that y'all know about in the priestesses' hands in this story. So I'm glad I put that there because that goes hand in hand with that market being in Capo, so that's great.
Hell yeah, dude. All right, we're gonna wrap this at exactly 3 hours, which means right at this time we have 1 minute. Any closing thoughts, TigerShark? Keep it in short.
No, just read his book and live life and have fun, guys.
Read his book, live life, have fun. Witch Doctor, any final thoughts? Closing thoughts? You have 1 minute.
Yeah, I hope people are inspired to do it. If you were thinking about it, go do it. I'm always the guy that goes and does it. Go do it, and you'll be proud of yourself.
I wrote a book. You wrote a book. There's no reason anybody in the audience right now can't write a book. Writing books is fun. It gives you the opportunity to be able to do some bibliomancy and some chaos magic of your own. And if I could give you a little bit of word of advice, man, when you're promoting your book, do that fucking bibliomancy bit at the end of every single interview and say, I want to close this out with a little bit of bibliomancy and flip through. And I'm going to close out this next 20 seconds with a little bibliomancy. And it says, the history of all hitherto societies is the history of y'all struggling to understand satire. Hail Eris, hail Satan, free Palestine.